Okay, at this time I'd like to call to order the August 16th, 2023 regular meeting of the Royal Oak Downtown Authority. We'll move right along the agenda here. This is the time for public comment. If you want to address the board, now would be that time. If you have an item that's on the agenda, you can do it at that time. Mr. Harrison.
Thank you. Director Yezbek has already answered my first question, and that was, have you landed on a municipal law attorney to meet in closed session to talk about the MPS system? And I understand that HSC that you're going to be hiring today is that law firm, so that's excellent. It's been 2 years that we've been fooling around with this thing, and my tenants are beside themselves. Anyway, and the other thing is, I'm wondering if there's any initial results of the data reflecting the increase in the grace period and maximum stay between April and June. Based on what I heard at the City Commission meeting, I doubt it, but I have to ask. And then you get to the why nots. Why not implement the MPS surface parking system on Washington that seems to be working at the surface lots? I followed up on this several weeks ago. Really didn't get a satisfactory answer other than it can't be done. I can't believe it. Just eliminate back-in parking on Washington and provide conventional or the civic center meters that Birmingham uses. I've talked to Birmingham. They're very happy with the system. Quite frankly, it was the competitive system that Royal Oak looked at before hiring MPS. And then we need to heavily advertise the pay-as-you-leave system for the meters in order to avoid getting a ticket. It should not take a full page of instructions to operate a parking meter. I'm really concerned about this MPS parking system. It's been over 2 years now. I have one tenant that is talking about leaving within a year due to the loss of business as resulting from the MPS system. As I said, the meter problems have been going on for over 2 years, and we need to do something to fix the system and implement an aggressive program to bring people back to downtown Royal Oak. You know, if I was a different kind of guy, I'd be out there shopping for another tenant now. That's not the way I'm wired. Let's fix this system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Anybody else wish to address the board? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Move on to the regular agenda. Approval of the meeting minutes from July 19, 2023. What's the board's wishes here?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Director Yezbek, second by Director Leclave. Any discussion? Additions? Changes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Item number 4, expense items. These are our monthly expenses for your review. If you have questions for staff, now would be the time. Seeing none, I will move on. Item number 5, mural grant application, 111 South Main, North End Tap Room. This came from Daniel.
Thank you. As the board recalls, in October of 2022, a mural grant process that mirrors our facade grant process was put in place, essentially as a catalyst to bring more public art and more mural works into downtown, which is predominantly one of the cheapest and easiest ways to place-make in a downtown setting, according to our Main Street America folks. The first applicant is the North End Tap Room at 111 South Main. The request is to fund half of a $7,000 mural that will go at the top of the building, which faces the public alley there, as well as the 11-mile parking garage. As part of the discussion at the committee earlier this month, this project was seen as potentially a good catalyst for this area, especially helping beautify an area that a lot of folks traverse, being from Centennial Commons or the parking structure, and that committee did unanimously recommend approval. The owner, Mr. John Stoya, is with us if you have any follow-up questions for him as well.
I'll move the question.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Director Dunstan, second by Director London. Any questions? Any questions for the applicant?
Make it pretty.
Seeing none, I'll call for the vote at this time. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Good luck, Mr. Stowe. Okay. Item number 6. Facade grant reimbursement.
In November of 2022, Mr. Stoya and North End Tap Room came to this board for a facade grant and was approved in a full grant amount of $10,000. The work as part of that scope, so the front facade, the garage doors, the paint, the masonry, all of that has been completed. Proper proof of payment of the expenses has been submitted and reviewed by myself and the executive director and been confirmed. And so this is simply to authorize the disbursement of funds for this grant.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Director Keith,
Second.
second by Director Leclerc. Any discussion?
Good.
This was approved by the Infrastructure Committee, or recommended for approval by the Infrastructure Committee also. And as you can see, I think he did a really nice job with the facade of the building.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah.
We opened as of 10 minutes ago.
Oh, perfect time.
I'll go there after the meeting.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Get back to work.
You're fine.
Okay, item number 7, 45-day review, Royal Oak Live, and the Royal Oak Chamber of Commerce.
Very briefly,
Yes.
it is just a 45-day review based on your agreement with the Chamber of Commerce. They provided written documentation that's included in your packet, as well as the budget synopsis, and they're here to give a brief overview and answer any questions. There's no action necessary.
Shelley, would you like to come forward? Just let us know how it went.
T-shirts, anyone? Some of you already have them, but pass them down and give them to your friends and family. Hi, good evening, or yeah, it's almost evening. I'm Shelley Kemp. I am the president of the Royal Oak Chamber. We've actually not ever done a 45-day review, so I tried to kind of ask around and do my best to kind of just give a really quick, short synopsis and include some fun pictures that we had professionally taken. It was a beautiful weekend. We, at the very end, and we squeezed everybody in, it did rain, but we got everybody out of the park safely. But this was June 24th and 25th. It was, we had international and national and local jazz, R&B, and jazz and R&B acts, and it was, I feel like it was a success. There were a lot of people here that probably don't normally come to Royal Oak, and the park, of course, is beautiful, and we feel blessed that we had such a great place to actually have it. We did build a full stage and cover for it, so it looked a little bit more official and professional. Alexander Zonchek was our musical director, and he brought in some really great acts. If everybody is happy and good, and we are bringing him back to do the same thing for us again. And I know that Carrie over at Rock on 3rd had a great weekend, and I've heard from a couple other restaurants and businesses, and I put some of those quotes, I didn't put them all in here, but as far as we know, everybody had a great time. It was an amazing audience. I have never thrown an event in downtown Royal Oak where it was cleaner when we left than when we got there, and I'm not saying it was dirty. So everybody just picked up after themselves. It was amazing. Like I got a little teary-eyed when I saw all the people there. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or concerns or anything.
Any questions for Shelley?
The only thing I'll add is that we heard a lot of positive feedback about the operations around and how it was managed right behind the Henry Ford building, and so kudos to the group. And it was well run, it was cleaned up nice. I think those positive business testimonials are also very nice to hear how it brought business to them as well. So that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited, and we're excited to do it again next year. So bigger and better? I don't know. It'll be, I think, what did I say, the 22nd and 23rd of June next year. Same setup, just different acts. So we're excited. And thank you for your support. Appreciate it very much.
Great. Yeah, I too received a lot of positive feedback about this event.
There were a couple of people that did, I said in my report, there were people from Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, camped out 2 days, like not literally overnight, but they were there first thing both days, and one of the groups I became friends with, and they were commenting they loved how there was no charge for it. So some of Alexander's things there is, which is fine, but they just thought it was so cool that there was no charge, and they were very excited, so there's that.
Okay. Anything else? If nothing, there's no action required for this. Okay, we'll move on. Thank you,
All right.
Shelley.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you again.
Congratulations.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, item number 8, Restaurant Association sponsorship requests. This came from Daniel?
Yes. At the August 1st meeting of the Marketing and Business Relations Committee, representatives from the Restaurant Association attended to present a proposal on $30,000 sponsorship across 3 events: Wine Stroll, Beer Stroll, and Restaurant Week. Beer Stroll occurring October 7th. Wine Stroll occurs typically in May, and then Restaurant Week, as part of this proposal, will be hosted in the spring as a means to kick off summer, and will replace the Eat Royal event that the DDA hosted last year. During committee discussion, there was discussion over the Restaurant Association's membership expanding beyond the downtown district. Representatives from the RORA have included a list of folks that are already signed up to participate in the Beer Stroll, and have discussed kind of using the funds to promote the event as a whole, while outside businesses like Jim Brady's, Yield Saloon could participate, but are not directly signed up at this time.
Okay.
Resolutions for approval were approved along a vote of committee members 4-1.
Thank you, Daniel. Questions?
I've got one, please.
Yes.
I don't recall, and Jenna, you might have to answer this, is I see there's 3 separate resolutions here of each event, not to exceed $10,000. Is that the way you understood it to be?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because I wasn't sure if you'd be spending the same on all 3 events.
In theory, yes.
Okay.
Director London.
I just want clarification. I think it was 2 meetings ago, we approved for 2 pub crawls, and that was going to be the only 2 pub crawls of the year, and now we're kind of having another pub crawl. It's called a beer stroll, but it's a pub crawl, and a wine stroll. So I just want clarification. What's the difference between the beer crawl and now a pub stroll? And because we were sold on the idea of just having 2 main ones, but now it sounds like we're going to have 3, plus the ones that are not sponsored, plus the wine stroll.
Well, I mean, I'll try and answer. I'm not sure I have the answers. Maybe somebody else up here does. I think what we approved was 1 pub crawl at that time for some marketing purposes. And then I guess I would pass along to you, Director London, that I think Royal Oak in itself does many more pub crawls than just the 3 that you're talking about, because they're not done by an outside promoter.
Right, but I thought the city was just going to sponsor or help 3 main ones. They're trying to, from that last meeting, I thought they were trying to condense them. Of course, outside.
Go ahead,
people
come
can-
on up, John.
If I may comment on what I believe Director London's referring to was the request back in May for the Gone Country Bar Crawl. And during that time, the Restaurant Association had indicated their partnership with Royal Oak Pub Crawls, the company, and focusing on SantaCon, the Gone Country Bar Crawl, and the St. Practice Day Bar Crawl.
They're not sanctioned by Royal Oak Restaurant Association, though that's an outside company, and each individual restaurant can choose to belong to it or not. These are actual restaurant association, these 2, and we don't look at them as pub crawl. It's like a food pairing event. It's like if you went to a restaurant and got a pairing menu, it's just you walk through the city to do it. This isn't some, like a drink special, wear Santa sexy outfit or something like that. This is something where you take your mom and you take your significant other. This is a date night situation where you're getting an amuse-bouche with a pairing of either, depending on the event, wine or beer, and then you move on to the next place. But it also allows for every person that comes to see the entire downtown area. I don't know anything about the other pub crawls.
No, but he clarified it for me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. No, I understand now.
Thank you. Okay. So this has gone through the committee. Committee voted 4-1 at that point to approve the suggested resolutions. What is the wishes of the board? Director Yazbek.
I'll make a motion to, do we have to do it separately, or can we do all 3?
I believe, unless,
You can do them all at once if you like, the
Yeah.
way it's written. If you want to separate them, you can do that too, but
I'll make a motion to approve all 3 proposed resolutions.
motion by Director Yazbek.
Second.
That was, second by Director Dunstan. Discussion. Doctor, yep,
Oh, is it budgeted?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And in fact, as long as you got on that subject, previously, in last year's budget, we had budgeted $30,000 for one event, which Daniel organized, which was the Royal Oak event. Now we're
Got it.
doing 3 events, but the budget, the money is still the same.
Got it.
There's not a larger ask there.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Director London.
So what does the entry ticket, who gets that money? The $40 to $55, that money goes to the Restaurant Association?
Yes, it goes back to the Restaurant Association, but each person that, or I'm sorry, each business that is involved in this has a significant upfront cost. You're buying 18 cases of wine, and set a different menu option so that it's paired. So the money that goes back to the restaurants partially covers what they put into it, and then the money that we're asking for you guys is mostly for marketing for both the downtown and the event.
Thank you.
I guess I have one more question.
Yeah.
And is there a limit on how many tickets you can sell?
Yes. It's 2,000 for wine stroll, and which we have not hit in a couple of years, and then 1,500 for beer show. And all of those maxes, though, are depending on how many restaurants are involved in it, so that we make sure that no one's overrun, or the city's not overrun. So how many participants, I should say.
Okay, thank you. I will just chime in here real quick. I think I think we should support this. And one of my main reasonings behind this is that I look at the list of the participating business here, and I guess in my heart I'm trying to say that these are our businesses. These are the ones. Some of these businesses have been here over 20 years, some even 30 years. I think they deserve our support on this, and I think, as Jenna said, the majority of the money, not the majority of the money, but a good portion of the money goes to marketing these three events, and I think that supports Royal Oak in a whole. So if there's nothing else, I will go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. Okay, item number 9, legal services. Tim?
Yeah, the board may recall that you authorized staff to go out and solicit proposals for legal services. We were finally able to receive a proposal from a firm, which you do have attached to it. It's basically an hourly rate structure of $185 per hour plus standard reimbursable expenses for when you need their services. It's not a retainer. It is a firm and individual that was recommended both by the current city attorney, and Daniel has actually worked with him in Berkeley, so he comes highly recommended. And there's a resolution if you support the award for your consideration.
Okay. Just a reminder to the board, this is something that we requested that Mr. Twing look into. And this is the result of that. Personally, I'm recommending approval of this because I think we have some items that differ from the commission in terms of responsibilities and things like that, and I think it's important for the Downtown Development Authority to have representation available to us as we move forward.
Motion.
Motion by Director Leclave.
Second.
Second by Director London. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that motion passes. Director Yeswick.
Hey, as part of that resolution, it suggested that the law firm be invited to the next appropriate committee meeting. I know there's I don't know that this fits squarely within the marketing committee or the infrastructure committee. I'm just wondering if it makes sense to appoint a special committee to deal with the law firm.
We certainly can do that.
I would make a motion to do that, or...
Okay. I have a motion by Director Yeswick to form a committee appointed by the chair to meet with the attorney at the next available date.
I'll second.
Second by Director Dunstan. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Thank you. Item number 10, trash receptacle replacement.
This item was in front of the Infrastructure Committee at its August 7th meeting. The trash receptacles that are in the current downtown and are pictured as part of your packet have been there for some 20 years or more, depending on when they were acquired. You can see some of them are in very rough shape. All of them are missing the lids. All of them have had the plastic container that originally was in the middle removed and been replaced with basically garbage cans. It has created issues where patrons, others are just simply throwing bags of trash in because there's no stopping, and so it's created other issues downtown. So the Infrastructure Committee was looking at the style which was suggested by staff simply to mirror what is currently in the Centennial Commons. The style that was depicted here in the picture. It's not the intent to install both a trash and a recycle bin throughout the downtown. It is simply intended to put trash bins out with that labeling on them. Simply because we've found over the years trying to do recycling gets contaminated, and that's true from information with DPS and others, so we are not looking at putting out those recycle bins. With that, there's approximately 130 units in the downtown area. The proposal that was submitted from the same vendor was roughly $1,696.50 plus shipping. It indicated would be about $236,345. That proposal is also attached as part of your packet, and a quotation there. It is recommended by the committee to move forward. As I've indicated, you have $175,000 budgeted for this activity in the fiscal year 23-24 development fund budget, so you need to allocate additional funds. I've indicated another $85,000 simply to deal with any potential other costs that may come up in discussions with the vendor to deal with removal of the existing trash cans or receptacles, as well as placement of the new ones. It's not been confirmed either through DPS or Worry Free how we're going to take care of that yet. So I included some additional funds to address that issue if possible. If you concur, there is a resolution there for your consideration.
Okay. Questions for staff? Yes.
Were we able to determine if we can get the Royal Oak logo on that? And would that be additional cost?
Whatever label on
So the RO can go on the top?
right.
Would it add cost?
Well, I'm not sure we mean on top. These trash are included. I don't know about on the top.
Yeah, I think that these should be a part of the branding package of the landscape furnishings within the city, and that by doing so, I think that people will have more respect for them.
You're referring to putting an RO on the top.
Yep.
Or an RO with the trash?
No, on the top.
Okay. We'd have to investigate how much more that is.
Okay.
I mean, if they're laser cutting them, because I'm looking at the actual pieces here, or I mean the invoice here, that they're laser cutting these anyway, so it really shouldn't make a difference wise if they're already cutting into them.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, I get what you're saying. It does need to be looked into. I just can't get over that price though.
I'm in the wrong
So
business.
Tim, we are talking with the vendor that we're purchasing from for the inclusion of removal of the existing.
I haven't confirmed who's going to do that yet.
Okay.
They may simply deliver them to DPS, and I may have to have someone else put them in place, as well as remove the others. That hasn't been confirmed.
Okay.
I think the existing is an eyesore, so this would be much needed.
Yeah, for sure.
We're clearly in the wrong business.
These are in the park currently right now.
Yes. They are.
So
Right. So that
if you
kinda
haven't
sets-
had a chance,
That kind of sets the tone, I guess, of what we're looking for, or is there to be, because we didn't go to RFP for this at all.
we didn't. I can refer to Director Dunstan, I guess, did a little bit of research on this. So I don't know if he wants to share that with us. or
Well, I
not.
mean, I did nothing scientific, but I mentioned in our committee meeting that when I first saw the pricing of these things, I said, oh, come on, it's garbage cans. And I went and looked it up, and I'm like, oh, they really do cost that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, yeah.
And there could be some savings also in terms of, the committee discussed that there might be some savings. We may not be putting everything out that's existing right now. We'll have to take a look to see, what's needed on which blocks and so forth. Okay, so there is a suggested resolution. What's the wishes of the board?
Well, I'll move the resolution.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Motion by Director Dunstan, second by Director London. Any other questions for staff?
Make sure we hold on to that warranty,
Yeah.
because it's only 5 years, and the cost of each one, especially under the term misuse or neglect or accidents or anything like that not being covered, considering how fast people destroy things, which is human nature, because otherwise it's costly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Send it.
All right. If nothing else, I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. And just real quick, while we're on the subject, I was wondering, Mr. Brake, if you could ask DPS, the Thursday night summer series in the park, we've had all the trash bins have been completely full and overflowing.
Okay.
Is there, we only have one more night of it, of the concert series. Can we get just something temporarily in there tomorrow? Is that a possibility? I don't even know if it is.
I will
but-
check on that. I can't guarantee it, but I'll follow up on that.
Okay. It just, with the ice cream place and some of the other stuff, they all were completely full.
Yeah.
We ended up, when I was there, we ended up taking our trash home with us because it was really nowhere to put it.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's, Tim, if that's something that Worry Free could help us with as well, or?
No, Worry Free doesn't empty the refuse. It's either the refuse provider or DPS.
Oh, okay. I'll follow up with that. So let's.
I appreciate that very much.
So,
Appreciate it.
you got a question?
And just a comment that other cities, when they have these concerts, they do pop up cardboard garbage containers,
Yes.
and then the next day they're removed. They just pop them up there.
Yeah, we've used those for
Arts Beats and Eats, I think.
events, yeah.
So that'd be a good
Actually, I
thing to
think-
tell Shelley next year to.
Yeah.
Yeah, add that in.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay, moving on to the next item, tree grate replacement.
This is more of an informational item and looking for direction from the full board. Again, the Infrastructure Committee at its August 7th meeting discussed dealing with tree grates in the downtown area. I'm sure most of you have seen the cast iron ones that are kind of brown and depicted in this picture. When those have become missing over time or cracked or replaced, they have simply been being filled with other material, primarily mulch. We're looking for a way to cut down the maintenance of the tree grates. One of the proposals that we've looked at was through porous paving. There is a test sample on the north side of 4th Street. There's 4 different locations on that north side just east of Troy. 2 of them are brown. The lighting in these 2 pictures, I think, makes them look a little different, but the first 2 in the picture are both the brown. There was also a gray and a black.
It looks terrible.
The committee discussed it in terms of dealing with those that are currently missing. And based on the last field inventory that we did with DPS and staff, there were some 60 tree grates in the downtown area that are either missing, broken, or non-ADA compliant. We are looking to potentially fill all of those that are missing, need to be replaced with this material if the board supports it. And all I'm looking for today is an indication that you support this alternative and material, and then we would go out and get the actual quotes and do another inventory and identify where they're at and bring that back to you. If you don't support or don't care for this material and want us to go in and continue to look in another direction, then that's what I'm really looking forward today. I don't want us to go too far down a road on a replacement material if it's not what the board is looking for the downtown. It is a little spongy. It is easy to take care of in terms of if the tree grows, you can just simply cut it out, pull it out. If a location for some reason gets damaged, that can also be cut out and just refilled with the same material. Hopefully some of you have had a chance to walk over and walk on it. It is fairly hard. I mean, it's not spongy, but it's not playground type spongy material. It's resilient. The only concern that I had with it is several years ago there was a similar material that when we took the snow off the sidewalks with the brush machine, it tore some of them up or cut them and dug into them. As I said, if that does occur, it appears to be fairly easy to fix. Both DPS staff and worry-free staff were present when this was poured, and they actually poured it, so they got trained on how to deal with it if you wanted to go down this road. And again, all I'm looking for today is an indication of this is an acceptable way to head. It's not intended to take all of the cast iron tree grates out and put this in, but as if they need to be replaced, this is what we would use going forward.
Questions?
And my first question was the snow removal, and if it's something that we have to fight, that would be a consistent battle yearly that we would have to fight, and the maintenance could be large. I don't love the look of it. I would say I would like to check it out in person. I mean, I have seen some of those, and because they're over by the coffee shop, but I thought that was a temporary type of solution, not a final solution. You know, because there's a bunch of patching over in the 4th Street and Lafayette area.
Well, the ones that are over by you are temporary. That's
right.
Not where we've done this. It's
But that's the way it looks.
Right.
This looks like that.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't think it's the cleanest look personally. That's my comment.
A question that I have is the arborists, they've signed off on this? I mean, this is something that's healthy for the tree.
Well, the DPS staff's involved. Grand Rapids has gone entirely to this.
Okay.
Seattle is using this material. The water simply drains through it. It is porous.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Director McClave, did you have something there? You were worried about the snow?
Yeah, I was thinking about the snow removal as well. But our staff, our DPS can repair it themselves, so it's not
Yes,
something
they
that
participated
contractors out.
in the pour, and we're fine with it.
I will say that a lot of the driving force behind this decision was that when we looked at the alternatives about replacing and purchasing brand new cast iron grates, or even trying to fix and repair the ones that are broken right now, we were looking at a lot more money.
Yeah, it makes the trash cans look cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, there was a maintenance issue with those. Worry-Free told us that in order for them to do work on something like what you see on the screen there, the grates, it would take 3 people of labor to manage that. So that I think was a lot of the driving force. I don't think, I agree with you, Director Keith, that this was not the, maybe not the best solution. And I don't know what else is out there, to tell you the truth. We can put this on hold and carry this over and do a little more research if that's what the board wants to do.
Well, the resolution is to only get a quote, right? Just to see what we're looking at. Is that correct? We're not committing to porous paving yet, right?
That's correct. It's not intended to authorize installation. It's if the board felt that you did not want to do it, then we wouldn't spend any more time on it.
I got you.
If you'd like us to proceed, get an actual quote, come back with the actual dollars that we need to do the 60 to 63 grates, we can do that. You can take another month or so to consider it, go look at it, walk on it. My only concern is that the mulch is, in my opinion, not an acceptable solution to this, and we need to go in some direction. And this is what we found today.
I'd be curious to see I'd be curious to know what our architect thinks that's doing the fifth, how that ties to that, right? Because they've got it within that, and just to give some contrasting ideas of something that would apply there that maybe we could go more mainstream with. I mean, I'm just trying to think just what would be available.
My comments after thinking about it since our infrastructure meeting is I'm a little concerned about what this says about the city, that we are leaving something that the cast iron ones, with all the problems and difficulties of maintenance, are a very classy solution, and this is very opposite of that, and it feels a little cheap for the type of city that I think we are, and the brand that we want to project. So I worry a little bit about the fact that it just doesn't look very clean. It doesn't look very tidy. I recognize the benefits from a installation standpoint. We have our concerns about the maintenance, but I just want us to ask ourselves, is this the best we can do?
So I'm going to recommend that this item be carried over.
Yeah. I think we need to take a look at them a little bit more.
And send it back to committee and see where we can go for.
Not make Tim spend more time with the company until we can
exactly
go see him in mass here.
So we put a hold on that and
But I think that asking the experts that we have at the table who are working on the 5th Street Plaza design about what they've seen and what they're using in other locations is a good idea, and to query the experts about what's being used. Daniel?
This was actually a recommendation from them.
Sorry to hear that.
Great. Let's get some jumping.
Well, I think the infrastructure committee, I'm looking farther down here in some of the emails that we received today from Mr. Brake. I think there is we are going to request that potentially someone, your suggestion of someone from DPS coming to the committee level, and I think we'll have an opportunity to have another discussion with them at that time.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? So without objection, we just hold this over?
Sure.
Okay. Then we'll move on here. Request for downtown dollar allocation, Arts, Beats, and Eats Fashion Show. This came from Daniel.
Yes, this request actually came from Director LeClave, who is working with John Witz and Associates on planning the fashion show during Arts, Beats, and Eats. Essentially, from a very basic 30,000 square foot, they need models to walk in this fashion show. They currently don't have funding allocated to pay for models in the fashion show, and they have a number of events associated with this between a preview event, the actual fashion show, and then I'm drawing a blank on what the other portion is, but the request is to pay up to $150 per model. In the memo, I've laid out the maximum number that was that Director LeClave communicated, as far as 35 maximum models, a maximum value of $150, and then what the maximum number of fees would be. So this would be a not to exceed around $5,400. And I would yield to Director LeClave for any of the questions you all have.
Director LeClave?
So this is a way that we can pay these models, as he said, for the sake that we have a $5,000 budget to do the Royal Runway Fashion Show during Arts, Beats, and Eats. This is a DDA, well, me representative of a DDA, as well as 9 stores from downtown Royal Oak, clothing retail stores, to do a half-hour fashion show on Saturday, September 2nd at 5:30. So the whole thing is really trying to showcase, like you said, this is in collaboration with John over there and Arts, Beats, and Eats, to really showcase Royal Oak clothing stores during Arts, Beats, and Eats, and hey, like there's more than just Arts, Beats, and Eats. Come back to Royal Oak to check out the clothing that we have. For the sake of paying these models, easy way to do it because we have a pretty good amount of downtown dollars that aren't being used, so why not use those to fund some models and practically circle that money back into the city.
Great idea.
So that's the thought process here. So with your guys' support.
Any questions, Director Yazbek?
I was just going to make a motion to approve.
Okay, we'll start with the motion and then we'll go from there. Motion by Director Yazbek, second by Director Key.
Do I have to abstain from this?
No.
Okay.
Questions? Well,
one thing that I would have to say is that, because this was brought up in committee, is that this could potentially start a trend of other people seeking funding from or with using downtown dollars, but this is a DDA function in collaboration with Arts, Beats, and Eats. So that's the key thing, is that this is DDA, this is ours. And that's why I'm really sure, I'm going to be part of the show in a way, so it's really...
Star, I thought the star.
Yeah, pretty much, with my hand. But, so it's a good thing just to making sure that in case other people start coming and saying, hey, we used it there, that just because we used it here doesn't mean we can use it there, because this is DDA money. So
right. No, I think this is a good use. This is a good use for the e-cards, because the money functions back into the local businesses here. So
So it has no impact on the budget because it's a part of the downtown dollars that we already have approved.
It's already in there. Daniel?
Right.
Yes, these funds are already in the account and are actually excess that was unused from Royal Oak Live and Royal Oak Pride so far.
Okay, great, thank you.
Director Key.
Yeah, I had not heard about the the fashion show. Where's it looking to go? I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think it's a great spot.
So
It's a great way to do that.
It's during Arts, Beats, and Eats. House of Dance stage.
Okay.
Arts, Beats, and
So
Eats.
it's going to be on one of the stages.
It's on one of the stages there
Okay.
during Arts, Beats, and Eats.
Got it.
So.
And is somebody emceeing that or something along those lines?
So we have a group that I've worked with before for fashion shows that have done for Noir Leather called Channel Iris. They were contracted to head it up for us. So
Okay.
they're doing it in collaboration underneath Arts, Beats, and Eats.
What day and time is it?
Saturday, September 2nd at 5:30 p.m. So all the
From the peanut gallery, there's also going to be some TV spots promoting Royal Oak stores in advance to just leverage this show to get added PR value for what you guys are investing. Where there's at least going to be a Channel 4, possibly a Fox 2, where these stores will get on TV and promote the downtown. Sorry for the...
Okay, yeah, I would just need you to come forward if you were going to continue, but that's fine.
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm going to call for this vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Okay, second annual Shop Royal Oak Weekend shopping event. Daniel.
Yes, thank you. As the title states, this would be the second iteration of Shop Royal, an event geared towards bringing a downtown-wide sidewalk sale to downtown where businesses will participate by offering a sale or deal that weekend. This year, our conversations with retailers have been fruitful as far as they see this as an excellent opportunity to advertise downtown even more. Last year we had a number of storefronts that were seeking to do a 10% discount for the weekend. We've already had commitments from Blue Jean Blues, I believe Sidetrack Bookshop. I'm drawing a blank on some of them as far as they're willing to do at least 20% this year. A lot of the feedback we got from the public last year was 10% was not a whole lot to draw folks out. Additionally, some changes to the event as opposed to last year. Last year we created one centralized location where folks had to come pick up their bag that myself and volunteers stuffed with a map and the discounts and everything. This year we're looking to decentralize it, work with the retailers, give them the bags in advance. From there, anybody who makes a purchase this weekend as part of the event would receive one of those shopping bags. Providing shopping bags continues to be one of the things that retailers say that they love the most. And as part of that shopping bag, we'll seek to further the Downtown Royal Oak brand using that design that's found in the packet for both the bag and then the additional giveaway this year as opposed to the stickers we did last year. This year, some crowdsourced ideas was a Crossland beanie. This is similar to something that District Detroit Partnership does around the holidays. They give out socks, gloves, hats, any number of things that say Downtown Detroit. So we're looking to brand Downtown Royal Oak with things that folks are going to wear and are going to continue to get the name of Downtown Royal Oak out there through subversive marketing. As part of this, the event date is proposed for the first weekend of October, the same as last year. This provides us an opportunity to provide the retailers an opportunity to draw traffic in after the back-to-school season ends, but before the holiday season ends. So hopefully encouraging folks to get out and spend some money at retailers during that slower time. And then additionally, in this, you'll note that it calls for free garage parking by Parkrite at a rate of $10,000. That is no longer accurate, and going back and forth with Teresa Kozak of Parkrite, they've quoted $14,000 for that weekend, so I'm currently engaging with them on potentially just offering free parking in 11 Mile and Center Street due to the rationale that that $14,000 number comes from the shows at the music theater that weekend. And the intent is to offer the free parking as an education to our retail shoppers as opposed to folks that are just attending a concert that night. So that's why that scope is being shifted there. And then the street performers, so this is occurring the same weekend as the Royal Oak Beer Stroll that was approved by the board earlier, as well as the Social District Saturday. This is meant to provide a holistic view of, we're appealing to those that are interested in the social district or beer and food with those other two events. This is providing the side of the ecosystem of folks that enjoy shopping and enjoy the entertainment aspect of, just going to Right Impressions or Sidetrack Books or 515 and picking up some items either early for the holiday season or just general shopanistas, as they're called. I think I covered anything, but I am open for any questions.
Questions for Daniel? This is October 6th through the 8th, is that correct?
Yes. Friday through Sunday.
Director Yazbek.
Not a question, but just a comment. I will be enthusiastically supporting this event because not unlike the alcohol-related events boost the restaurants and bars, this type of event will certainly boost retail and get some people down there that with the free parking and that might not otherwise come down, and it's a chance to have exposure for the stores, and so I think it's a wonderful thing. Although businesses, as some of us have mentioned, need to exist independently of these types of things. These types of things help. They are a great boost to business, and this is, to me, exactly what the DDA is supposed to do. This is our mission, is to support downtown businesses. So I definitely support this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Director London.
So limiting to the parking garage, just the one, how much money does that save?
To Center Street and 11 Mile, so two of them. I'm still waiting to hear back from Parkrite on that, but assuming that $14,000 covers all four of them for Friday and Saturday, it should definitely be less than the $10,000 mark.
So they don't think the concert goers use Center Street?
Well, we won't be advertising through the music theater. We won't be telling the music theater to tell their visitors to park there. We'll be including it in our marketing for this event specifically.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and I appreciate you answering the question, because I think some of the outlying lots don't really come into play in this, and it does save us some dollars, and I think it's something we may want to look at for other events if we are going to offer up some free parking, which locations we want to do that at. So I think that would free up some funds, so I think that's a good idea. Dr. Keith.
Yeah, my only ask would be, and you said it, Daniel, in terms of the holistic approach of the marketing side of this, right? We have a lot of activity going on that weekend, and the messaging, I think, would be great to be clean. You have to address all of those things going on so that people don't, get confused, right? There's so many things going on that I think it's a lot, which I think is good. I think if you're down there throwing bags and you can see a street performer, I think that's fun, right? I mean, but I think cohesively just making sure that everybody understands that in the marketing side, I think is just an important note.
Definitely.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Director Yazbek.
I think there's been some discussion about it, but just along those same parking lines, is validation a possibility for people that purchase things from the stores? Because that would
yes. So currently, it's something I'm working on with a number of businesses, specifically ones that rely on appointments. So things like salons, the tattoo shop, Right Impressions for invitation designs. Parkrite offers the opportunity for validation, where they can build an account with a business. So say Right Impressions does validation. They have the Right Impressions account where they get a stack of tickets. Folks are then told, park at this garage and we'll validate your parking. They can park there, go to Right Impressions. Right Impressions provides them a validation ticket to go with theirs. And then the charge for that parking gets put into Right Impressions account, and at the end of the month, they get a bill. So essentially, somebody goes for 4 hours to Right Impressions, the $1.50 gets charged to their account because of it. This is one of the ways that we're looking to do, or looking to have businesses that have patrons that park longer periods of time, just to sweeten the pot a little bit to get folks to use those structures. A lot of that communication's gone out more. For this event, we could trial validation. My only concern is getting the number of validation tickets tied specifically to a DDA account and dispersed across all of the retailers, and how we keep that only to the Shop Royal weekend. So if I provide Right Impressions with 50 validation tickets and somebody gets a validation ticket from her and goes somewhere else and gets a validation ticket, and then they just pick one, or they hold on to one and use it the next weekend or something like that. I don't know necessarily the parameters on if they can limit time frame for these validation tickets, so that's the only wariness I have as far as trialing it during this weekend.
Probably not something you could put together in this short time frame, but if, as you described, something like that was available in the future, if then the DDA wanted to spend some money on free parking, then we support the businesses as opposed to like the general public. So that could be a very good way to proceed in the future.
Definitely something I can look for in the next month's meeting when I'll be proposing Small Business Saturday in the holiday season.
Yeah, instead of renting out the whole structure, just the ticketing thing.
Right.
It's amazing. I think it's great.
And then whatever your invoice is from Park Right,
Yeah,
we could help subsidize or cover
Yeah,
that cost.
I think we
I
should,
like that idea.
I think we should take our time on this and make sure we get it right, because there's a lot of things involved here, but I love the idea, I love the concept of validation and so forth, and I see, I'm having trouble, I mean, I believe most of the businesses would be on board with something like that.
So I've had a number of retailers that are interested as well. Just,
Right.
I mean, it's not much skin on their back to offer 75 cents for somebody to be here for 3 hours, if it means that they're going to sell a shirt or another piece of their retail offerings.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. So I don't have anything right now on the table. Director Yazbek.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion by Director Yazbek.
Second.
Second by Director Leclerc. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes. Okay. Out front billboard purchases. Daniel.
Last time speaking today. So this was part of the advertising plan that this board approved earlier for this fiscal year. My approach is to do just one fiscal year. That way the plan can be put in, we can discuss it, and then I don't have to bog down this board with a request every other month to fund a billboard here and a billboard there. So within the budget, as well as this advertising plan, $50,000 was allocated for digital billboard advertising. As part of this, I've worked with our sales rep to kind of target very specific time frames. August to October being big as far as sports, like Lions games down in Detroit, positioning Royal Oak to be the destination folks stop before or after the game for food, drinks, entertainment. Then, of course, the holiday season, November to December, for Royal Oak being the place for your boutique and unique gifts. January and February, marketing us as the destination to fall in love during the Valentine's season as well as the winter. And then, of course, next April, Detroit will host the NFL Draft for the first time in a number of years. And so our ad rep has worked with the parameters as far as more local advertising, advertising up the 75 corridor. As folks are coming down towards Detroit, they see that for those specific ones. And then, of course, the NFL Draft one being focused more towards the south of Detroit, as well as the airport, where folks are coming in, getting off of a plane, and then maybe seeing a billboard that says, oh, hey, I should go out and check this out while I'm in while I'm in the area. And then just one note on the digital aspect. The reason why predominantly digital billboards over vinyl billboards are chosen is because digital is easy to switch out. If we have an image there and then we want to promote an event at the same time, we can run those two images and they just split the impressions for us, as opposed to having to re-vinyl the whole side of it.
Okay. Questions? I have one. Tim, is this part of our budget, in the media budget that we have set aside?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question.
Question?
So does the same message run on every billboard during this time frame?
We can run every message the exact same on the billboard. We can run the same message across 5 different designs. We can run 5 different messages across the same time frame.
Because the billboards that are closer to Royal Oak maybe need to be messaged differently than the one downriver or north on 75 or whatever.
And that's kind of why the approach was taken as far as, so the August, October being a destination, those ones are focused more towards non-local. So those are as you're going up towards, say, Bay City, Saginaw, and are going to be messaged to, you don't know about Royal Oak yet, but you're going to. As opposed to the holiday gift shopping one, those ones are more geared towards locals, because those are the folks that are looking for places to buy gifts in the area.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Director Keith.
Yeah, just one question in terms of the actual logo, what we're doing for that in terms of, I don't know if that's going to be a bureau thing or internal thing, or who's going to build a graphic to be put up there, you know what I mean? Or is that included in this price?
I am a degreed graphic designer who will be designing them.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that there's not any additional 50 grand to make sure we have all that.
Yeah.
So.
No extra charge from me for those.
Okay.
We already got them in our pocket.
Right.
He will take extra money.
On the record, no.
Any other questions for staff?
I'll move the resolution.
Director Dunstan.
Second.
Second by Director Leclerc. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. I'm going to jump down to item 16 at this time. Arts Beats and Eats Amendment to Festival Agreement. Who's handling this? Mr. Twing?
I am. I believe you should have all gotten a copy of an email that I sent out yesterday, which included a potential third amendment to the 4th restated festival agreement for Arts Beats and Eats. I believe you should have also seen that it was originally sent to me from the city attorney with outlines of our conversation. Basically, there's some costs that the city and/or Arts Beats and Eats are potentially going to have in the 23-24 event year. It's my understanding that the state police are going to start charging for their time to the tune of $30,000. So there's an additional cost that someone would have to bear there. Part of the amendment that you will see is dealing with approval to increase the parking fee that the city charges for the various parking locations in the downtown to $20. There is also an increase in the fees that's being proposed as access to the event itself. And then there was some clarification that Mr. Witz will have to describe in regards to the nonprofits. Those are the sections of the agreement that are being modified. And the wording is in front of you. I did hand out a copy just in case you weren't able to bring it with you today for your consideration. Given that it's intended to impact the agreement for the event this year, 2023 and 2024, I understand that the City Commission will be considering it at their next meeting in August. And in order to have your review as a party to that agreement, you would either have to schedule a special meeting or deal with it at today's regular meeting. But the city attorney asked that I get it in front of you, and so that's what I have done.
Tim, was this amendment, I thought when we talked about this in the past, it was also going to include what the DDA commitment was to Art Beats and Eats from a dollar standpoint.
No, the only changes to the 2023-2024 agreement are the ones that are here in front of you today. Those are the ones that were sent on to me. There are other items that were discussed in terms of amendments to the agreement long term, but the only ones that have been drafted and presented are the 3 sections that are in front of you.
Director Yasmin.
Is the amount of our support in the agreement? The
original
Again, no. The original agreement's $100,000. That section hasn't changed.
It does say $100,000?
It's still $100,000 for this year and next year.
Because I know that a couple meetings ago we passed a resolution recommending or indicating that we would increase our support once the contract is completed to include this year. So how would that fit into what we're being asked to approve now? Would it be appropriate to include that?
I don't have the wording. I don't have it in front of me. I don't know how you'd act on it. Don't have it in front of you. I don't know what sections are impacted by it.
I didn't hear exactly what he said.
He's saying that in order to add or change the amount of support may affect other things in the agreement, and without having that wording in front of us, it would be difficult to act upon that portion.
So how would you recommend handling this situation then if we recommended that we increased the sponsorship from 100 to 150 for this year? How would you handle we implement that?
Well, I would recommend that it be similar to what's in front of you today that was drafted as an amendment to the agreement. Potentially it would be the 4th amendment to the 4th restated agreement. It would reference the sections and the parties involved, and it would provide the sections that are being amended and the wording that is being replaced in its entirety with new wording.
Well, this hasn't been, Mr. Brick, this hasn't been approved by the commission as of yet.
It has not. We have a special meeting next Monday. It's actually related to unrelated items, and this is an add-on that we're taking out.
So I guess I would ask 2 questions. One, is there the potential to amend this one line of this agreement? Or I guess my next question would be, is there the possibility that the commission is going to amend any portion of this agreement when it becomes before them?
Will they make additional changes above and beyond this? Probably not. But if you want to add an amendment and direct the director to work with the city attorney to include that language, potentially. You're asking legal questions that none of us can answer.
I can.
So, but so that duly represents no disrespect to your background, so that could go about that way, and that's added on. But as you know, the executive director Twing has mentioned that you have no such wording that's before you. So if the board is comfortable, it's a pretty simple concept. It's just amending, for 100 to 150,000, that it doesn't change any other terms or conditions. That could be a way of going about this on the fly.
Okay, so my thought process on this, so we don't spend a ton of time on it here, debating back and forth what can and can't be done, would be to to make a motion to ask our executive director to approach the city attorney about and explain to the city attorney what our wishes are in regard to this, and see if that can or cannot be done. I think that's the fairest, easiest way of going about it, because if we don't go through that process, then we're at least at this point leaving it the way that it is. But
that makes sense.
I don't know if that impacts our vote tonight.
I would deal with that as a separate vote, and to separate that out, and this isn't, is this legal or not? And this is under the Open Meetings Act. So you received this 18 hours prior to this meeting, and so that's the requirement, whereas we're adding something that was not on the agenda. So that it may require that the as Mr. Twing called it, the Fourth Amendment to the Fourth Restated Festival Agreement, that we deal with this after the fact, would be the potential alternative outcome, if that makes sense what I'm explaining.
So, just to be clear, Mr. Baker, are you suggesting that we approve the current agreement the way that it is?
Correct.
This evening, and then deal with the potential of extra support at a later time?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Is that I would suggest that if you want to approve that this evening, handle that as a separate motion.
Okay.
So I'll make, since we're talking about it and since you articulated the motion, I think fairly well, I make a motion to ask the executive director to discuss with the city attorney about either modifying this amendment or creating a second amendment that deals with our increased sponsorship for 2023 festival from 100,000 to 150,000. I think that's what you just said.
Okay, I have a motion on the table by Director Yesbeck.
Second.
Second by Director Dunstan. Okay, discussion. This is, to be clear, what we're asking is for Mr. Twing to meet with the city attorney to discuss the legal method for making that amendment.
To go from 100 to 150.
Correct.
And the additional 50 is to cover state police?
No,
No?
just increasing our sponsorship.
Just increase, okay, right.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Questions?
Yeah, question.
Yes.
So why is this necessary? He should be getting sponsors from other people, not just the city of Royal Oak. Every year, we hear we'll get more sponsors.
I guess I'm going to ask for a clarification here because I seem to remember, and I could have forgotten here, I guess we'd have to go back, but with what Director Yesbeck said, I thought we made a motion to approve this support at an earlier meeting.
We did.
You
I would
did,
agree.
we did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you did allocate additional funds towards the Arts Beats and Eats. You didn't amend the agreement. It's a three-party agreement. You can't have conflicting activities.
Okay.
You have an agreement that says you're going to pay $100,000. You're going to pay it in March and July of each year. You already paid for this year. Those payments are gone. Unless you amend that, you're going to add another payment at some point. And that's why I say without the wording, I've been trying to look it up. There's at least one section, that's section 4F, that spells out your payments and when they occur and when they're to occur. They've already passed for this year. That agreement's in place. It's part of the second amendment to the fourth restated agreement. There's also an agreement, I believe, in terms of how that's reimbursed from the city's end of it. And you may need to address whether you're getting reimbursed for that full $150,000 or for the $100,000 from parking revenue. Not that you'll ever see it, but there are a couple of items that are impacted by your allocation and when those occur. As I said, the one that concerns me the most is the year 2023 that you've already paid for. Those payments are gone.
Let me go with Director Keith first.
I just want to restate this so that I'm making sure that I understand. So really, we're trying to align our amendment to something that we previously approved, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to understand.
Director Yazbek.
And just to make sure that I understand, the reason that we couldn't amend it at that time, the increase in support, is because there was no agreement to amend because the city was working on that. So now that we have something in writing in front of us, we can ask for an amendment memorializing our increase in support, but you don't want to do it in this amendment. This motion is asking you to request of the city attorney to make a second amendment that will memorialize our increased support.
That's my understanding. You're not voting on that tonight. Yeah. You're voting on what's in front of you.
Correct.
The other one would come back at some point in time and would require city commission approval as well.
Okay. So what I have on the table here right now.
Sorry, I have a question.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So back in April or May, when we had that discussion, there was what we voted on last time, and I'm reading the meeting minutes, had to do with signage, had to do with terms about the reimbursement and the increase to $150,000. But this amendment talks about other things, like the cost of the parking, and so
Yes.
they seem unrelated.
Can I clarify that for you?
Please. Thank
Okay.
you.
The agreements that, and Mr. Bright can even jump in if you wish to here. The agreement is a three-party agreement, okay? And the agreement itself, literally as big as the agreement is, the DDA's portion is about this big. It's maybe 4 or 5 lines.
Sure.
And it simply deals with the agreement for sponsorship and the potential of being reimbursed for that money after city services have been paid and taken care of.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah, great.
That's it. So when it comes to, I guess what I'm trying to say is when it comes to parking and parking funds and parking permits and signage and everything else, that's all between the other two parties of the agreement, which is the city and Mr. Witz. That has nothing to do with the DDA. So I don't know if that was helpful or not.
Well, it makes me more confused then, because this document specifically talks about sections relating to the change in the cost of parking and...
Well, if I can jump in, the reason this is in front of you is related to 2 sections that don't reference the DDA at all.
Correct.
You're a party to an agreement, so in order for that agreement to be modified, all 3 parties have to agree to it. So you can't amend one part of it on your own without the City Commission's blessing. That's why the resolution previously adopted about allocating $150,000 is meaningless. All 3 parties have to agree to it. It's not been drafted. It's not it's in any other document on it. And if the City Commission said no to it, then it's meaningless as well. Just as if you have an objection to raising the parking fee as a party to the agreement, you could vote no. And I hate to say it, but yes, you're party to it. Your portions are 2 sections where it really references you, but you're party to the whole agreement.
Right.
Right.
That's why it's in front of you.
Okay, I understand that. So to try and move forward here, I don't think it's unreasonable or wrong for the motion that's on the table to ask the executive director to research with the city attorney whether an amendment can be added to this agreement for 23 and 24. Okay? Let's just, my suggestion is let's just leave it at that.
Right.
For that portion of what we're trying to do for this motion.
But my motion was to ask the executive director to work with the city attorney to prepare the amendment. We know it can be done. My motion is asking.
However you want to state it is, I'm fine with it. And are you okay with that, Director Dustin?
I'm just trying to understand again, though. So we could say no to raising the parking, and we can do that, but we can't add any amendment to this document? We can't say we can't look
the
at
other party's approval.
We can't look at section 4F and change those numbers and that, which is really basically it's changing two numbers. It's changing the total. It's changing the payments. I don't understand why we can't add that to this.
So, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The city attorney is watching this meeting.
Okay.
He's not present. He also suggests that you could table, and he can add the extra support from the DDA contract, but you would need to schedule a special meeting after the city commission takes actions, if it needs to move fast, is what his recommendation is.
So what you're saying then is next Monday night when this goes in front of the city commission, they won't be able to make any changes either?
No. That what he's stating is that he can include that, and that he says, I can add the extra support from the DDA. But he's saying our group would need to have a special meeting to approve after the city commission takes action.
That to me makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Right? Let them figure it out, and then we just approve it, bless it.
But here's why. Because, as Tim just said, there's 3 signatures to this agreement, to the Arts Beats and Eats agreement. We are being asked, the city commission already looked at this, prepared an amendment. We have to say, yes, we're good with this. It doesn't include the additional support, but I think what the city attorney just said is, I can include that, the city will approve it, and then it has to come back to you guys and you say yes or no. So that's why.
Yep. Got it.
So his recommendation would be at this point, if everybody were to agree, that this would be tabled.
Yes.
Oh, he doesn't need that motion that I made.
No, he does not.
Couldn't hurt, but.
Okay. Sounds to me like the best direction for everybody involved here.
Let's do that.
Okay?
That's fine. So I withdraw my motion.
Withdraw your motion. Director Dunston's okay?
And then we'll
Okay.
wait, follow up, special.
But we can consider this.
No, we want it amended first, right? Isn't that what he's saying?
I believe he needs your blessing on this agreement, so.
Pardon me?
That we're still back to the original agreement. Right. Not the change, and we should make that, consummate that action right now. Right. As this has been presented, so.
And then there'd be an amendment.
Yep.
Okay?
Makes sense?
So you don't want to deal with this right now?
No, we do.
Yes, we
do. We do.
Increasing the dollar.
Okay, we have
You had a conversation like this.
Oh my God.
So you do not have a motion.
We do not.
You have a withdrawal, but you need a motion to approve the.
Correct.
Motion. So, right.
I have a question about the nonprofit part of this that I think.
Yeah. So another note from the city attorney, he says, no, just table all.
Table it all.
Yep.
Okay.
But you'll need to schedule a special meeting next week.
We can do
But
that.
we'd have to do that anyways, because
Correct.
we have to approve the amended agreement, increasing to 150. So we
Correct.
have to meet no matter what.
Right.
Correct.
So the commission will see that wording
Yes.
next Monday night? Okay.
Yes, they will.
All right.
Yeah.
So we can approve this and then we
Motion
still
to
have
adjourn.
I like.
Okay, so without objection, I am tabling this item from the agenda.
Could I also ask you to make a motion to schedule your special meeting for next week and a time?
Motion.
Motion by Director Leclave, second by Director Yazbek to schedule a special meeting next week.
Next Wednesday at 4 o'clock?
Next Wednesday, 4 o'clock?
Check.
Check.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the table. Any discussion?
Negative.
Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. Tim, or did anybody have anything you want to bring forth in terms of the reports?
No.
Item 15?
Nope, those are all just informational.
Okay. All the rest is just informational material. And I will entertain.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Director Keith.
Second.
Second by Director Clay. And discussion? Seeing none? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes and we are adjourned.
Okay. Fantastic.